Many years ago, as I was leaving a grocery store, I had a sort of transcendental moment. Maybe it was the fresh basil at the top of my bag demanding my attention with its sharp, spicy aroma and the spectacular deep green of its leaves. I looked down at the plant and then around at all the people going in and out through the doors. A gentle silence enveloped me. Time slowed down. It was as if the earth itself held its breath. The faces of people near me seemed to shine with beauty and life. I was suddenly conscious that each one had a full and complex life with experiences and interconnections deeply embedded in their humanity. Wrapped in sunlight pouring through the doors, every person glowed as if with a saintly blessing. Then I was outside, and time and space reclaimed me. The sounds of traffic and human voices raised in laughter or greeting resumed as if they had never been suspended. I was aware that my life and every human life was precious and miraculous. I felt intensely grateful. That moment has stayed with me. It was as if the universe granted me a revelation. Whatever happens, I can relive that moment and recognize the inherent holiness of life and the humanity of every person. Gratitude, once more, wells up and fills my being. Whatever happens, I can return to that moment and give thanks. I am aware that not every human is saintly or compassionate or even nice. Some people, especially but not limited to those who hold power over others, are deeply flawed. When they seize power and wield it without compunction, people suffer. I can see that major events in our nation and around the world are directed by deeply flawed human beings at their most untethered and unrestrained. People at their mercy are suffering. And this month's learning and worship theme is gratitude. The poet Adrienne Rich said, "My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed, I have to cast my lot with those who, age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world." No extraordinary power. Reconstitute the world. When I go back to that transcendent moment in a grocery store, of all places, I remember the miracle of life, the complexity of humanity, the hope and goodness that is fundamental to the personality of most human beings. Contrary to what we see in the news, the world is not filled with people who are horrible and inhumane. Most human beings, most of us, carry survival genes that impel us toward connection and community. When people suffer, most people feel empathy and sorrow. When the actions of the powerful are vividly, shockingly wrong, most people rise up to protest and condemn. I'm thinking especially of the neighborhood teams who escort children to school so that their parents can remain home out of sight of the ICE agents who would, at the schoolhouse steps, sweep a child's parent away into an unmarked van. I'm thinking of the neighbors, all regularly now carrying whistles, who blow them loudly so that people come running to witness and video the unconstitutional use of force to detain people without due process. I'm thinking of the gathered communities of faith who, like this fellowship, are collecting food because so many families are affected by the government shutdown and literally unable to feed their children. There is the goodness of humanity everywhere in action, on display, regardless of the human cruelty evident in every headline. Human beings instinctively gather in community. They respond with empathy and action to the pain of their neighbors. They yell, "This is wrong," as they video agents pulling a man from his car and then driving away with his toddler in the back seat. Survival genes, human genetic traits. Baked into the biology of most human beings are those survival genes that impel connection, empathy, and protest. Actions that have, age after age, led ordinary people to reconstitute the world. For that, I can be grateful. Gratitude and hope are entwined. The challenge, of course, is to be able to experience gratitude and feel hope when life becomes difficult. Somehow people do this all the time. I've been witness, most of you have, during our candles of sharing, to the gratitude of people I know are struggling with what's going on in their lives. We've all been witness to this, and not just in here. Somehow people find something for which they are grateful. And sometimes we've done it ourselves, found gratitude for something, even when things have never been more difficult. There's a Buddhist story about a Zen teacher, Sono, who was renowned for her inner peacefulness, so renowned that people came from far away to learn how to bring peace into their own hearts. A troubled man came to her and said, "How do I do it? How can I grow peace and happiness in my heart?" Sono advised him, "Whatever happens, give thanks. Repeat to yourself, 'Thanks for everything. I have no complaints.'" The man went away still struggling with his unhappiness. "I need practice," he told himself. So every day he meditated, repeating, "Thanks for everything. I have no complaints." He did this every day for an entire year, and he was still unhappy. He went back to the great teacher Sono and explained his dilemma. "I've tried and tried, but your method doesn't work," he said. "I'm still unhappy. I am not at peace. What do you say to that?" There was a silence as Sono reflected. Then she said, "Thanks for everything. I have no complaints." Buddhist story. There have been many studies of meditation and the brain. Brain scan techniques show a visible difference in the brains of people who meditate and people who do not. Clinical experiments that measure heartbeat and breathing rate show that meditators remain calmer under stress. When people who are measurably anxious are placed in a room with an experienced meditator with the instruction to just have an ordinary conversation, the anxious person's heartbeat and respiration slow down. They become calmer. Wouldn't it be great if we could infect the world with our calm? Let's try it. Thanks for everything. I have no complaints. Dr. James Austin, who is a neuroscientist and longtime practitioner of meditation, is the author of Zen and the Brain. It's a book published by MIT Press. He describes the experience of meditation. The sense of I, me, disappeared. I had a sense of eternity, my old loathings, yearnings, fear of death, and insinuations of selfhood vanished. I had been graced by a comprehension of the nature of things. His loathings vanished. Consider, when taking in the news, do you ever feel loathing? You don't have to raise your hands. What would it be like if for a few moments those feelings vanished? It would be like a vacation. A vacation without being stranded at the airport. So that's how I feel, this lightness and absence of loathing. When I returned to that moment years ago in the grocery store, I can see the beauty and promise of everyone around me. I become aware that life is beautiful and precious. I can say with sincerity, somehow, thanks for everything. I have no complaints. Meditation, any spiritual practice, is worth doing for its own sake, for my own sake, and for the sake of the people around me. And these days, when we must cope not only with the challenges of our own individual lives, but also with the relentlessly encroaching problems that make the heart cry, when we are moved by all we cannot save, we need tools that return us to hope. We need those tools to give us the resilience to do what these times call us to do. We need daily moments of grace, of gratitude. Some changes call for every skill we possess. Find your community, friendly face and open hand. In that community, find support, find courage, find love, find the encouragement to sustain the practice that lead to gratitude. Make room for others who need community too. And remember this deeper truth. All changes will eventually change. Here, we are alive with purpose and strength. Whether your task is to work or to heal, to rest or to play, it is time to go where life sends you and be who you were meant to be. Thanks for everything. I have no complaints.